No one believed she earned the uniform. No one believed she belonged. But on the night the truth came for her, loud, violent, and merciless, she made them believe. The first time Lieutenant Avery Quinn walked into Bravo Company headquarters, she could feel every stair sink into her like thumbtacks. Boots thudded against the concrete floor, conversations faltered, and someone in the back muttered, "She's a kid." Avery wasn't a kid. She was 25, a combat marksman, a battlefield medic, and the top graduate in her training cohort. But none of that mattered. Not when her uniform fit too well. Not when her eyes were bright instead of deadened by war. Not when her name tag read Quinn, the same name as her late father, a decorated major who died before she learned to walk. Some saw her and thought legacy. Others saw her and thought cheat. And some, especially the ones in charge, thought opportunity. Avery knew this. She felt it the moment Captain Aldridge shook her hand, eyes sharp with appraisal instead of welcome. "You've got his cheekbones," he'd said, voice too casual. Avery forced a smile. Lucky me. She'd been in Bravo Company for 3 days before the rumors surfaced. That's Quinn's daughter. Aldridge vouched for her. Family placement. She skipped half the ladder. She's never seen combat. Bet she freezes the first time bullets fly. And every time she stepped into formation, someone whispered just loud enough. She's here because of him, not because of her. It stung. It burned. But Avery had a promise pressed deep into her bones. Earn it. Every step. It was something her mother told her before she shipped out. And even now, standing in the muddy yard behind the barracks with rain pouring down her helmet, Avery repeated it beneath her breath like prayer. Earn it. Every step. On her 7th day, she met the team. Sergeant Rowe, tall, lean, scarred from shoulder to jaw. Corporal Lennox, nervous energy and too many questions. Specialist Bird, quiet, methodical, eyes always calculating. And Private Hale, 19, eager, trying too hard not to be afraid. They were polite, professional, but distant. Only Lennox attempted friendliness. "You're Quinn, right?" "Like that Quinn." Avery nodded. "My father." "Oh." Lennox paused, as if realizing something too late. "Sorry." "For what?" she asked with a small smile. "For asking." That night, while the others cleaned rifles or wrote emails home, Avery sat alone on her bunk, listening to the rain hammer the metal roof of the barracks. She didn't cry. She hadn't cried in years. But she did pull a small photograph from her pocket, wrinkled at the edges, faded from years of being folded inside her uniform. Her father, holding her, smiling. She traced the outline of his face with her thumb. "I'll make you proud," she whispered, "even if no one else ever believes it." And somewhere just beyond that moment, something moved. Something powerful. Something that would soon break their entire world open. The operation order came 10 days later. Classified insertion. Night mission. Recon and relay. Zero tolerance for errors. Bravo Company was to deploy north into the Pinewood Highlands, where intelligence suggested enemy movement patterns were shifting. The mission was straightforward. Confirm or deny the presence of organized hostile activity near the old communications hub. It should have been routine. But nothing involving Avery Quinn ever seemed to be just routine. At 0200 hours, they lifted off in a twin-rotor transport bird. Engines roaring, lights off, rotor wash tearing the fog apart. The air smelled of metal, rain, and adrenaline. Rose sat beside Avery. Silent. Expression unreadable. "You ready, Quinn?" he finally asked. Avery turned to him, voice steady. "Yes, sir." He studied her eyes. "No one's ready for the moment the world snaps." She drew a breath. "Then I'll bend." Rowe looked forward again. "That's what I'm afraid of." They sat down in Clearing Alpha. Hale nearly stumbled on exit, nerves raw. Lennox slapped his shoulder. "You'll be fine," she said. Hale forced a grin. "I know. Just wish someone would tell my brain that." They hiked through wet pine needles and thick silence. Bird scanned constantly, rifle steady. Lennox whispered coordinates. Rowe moved with quiet purpose. Hale checked their 6. Avery walked third in column, breathing in rhythm, senses sharp. Hours passed. Rain fell harder. Wind roared through the trees, shredding visibility. Then, the first signal. A burst of radio static. Sharp. Rowe tapped his headset. Command, repeat transmission. Silence. Another burst. Louder, more irregular. Bird froze. That wasn't command. Avery felt it before she understood it. Something hidden beneath the static. A pattern impossible to ignore. Hale whispered, "Captain, is someone out there?" Rowe raised a fist. "Hold position." The forest held its breath. Wind. Rain. Silence. Then, another burst. And beneath it, a voice. "Help." Not loud. Not clear. But unmistakably human. Lennox swallowed. That sounded close. Rowe keyed his mic. "Broadcast again. Identify yourself." Silence. Then, "Quinn." Avery's heart clenched. Rowe turned sharply. "Quinn, did someone know you were coming?" "No," she whispered. "No one." Another voice cut through. Rough, frantic, drenched in pain. "Please help me." Hale whispered. "That voice sounds young." Rowe motioned forward. "We move. Stay sharp." They advanced deeper into the trees. And 20 minutes later, they found him. A man, slumped against a fallen log. Uniform shredded. Blood pooling at his hip. Avery rushed forward without hesitation. Rowe grabbed her arm. "Watch for traps." But there were none. Only suffering. The man lifted his head, eyes glassy, throat raw. "You came." Avery knelt beside him. His dog tag read, "T. Morris, Bravo Co." Avery's blood ran cold. "He's one of us." But Rowe shook his head. "No, he's not. That name isn't on our roster." Lennox moved closer. "Then who is he?" The man clutched Avery's sleeve. "You have to stop them." She leaned in. "Stop who?" He exhaled, a broken rattle. "Your captain." And then he died. Rain poured harder, washing blood from the man's uniform into the soil. Avery pressed 2 fingers to his neck, searching for a pulse long gone. Rowe crouched beside her, face hard as stone. "Check his pockets. Anything that explains why he called for you." Avery unbuttoned the inside flap of the man's jacket. Her fingers closed around a folded piece of torn waterproof paper. She opened it. One handwritten sentence stared back at her. "Your father was right." The world narrowed to that line. Ink bleeding through the fibers, rain smearing the edges. Avery's heart pounded. What did that mean? How did this stranger know her father? Hale's voice trembled. "This is insane." Lennox rubbed her forehead. "This has to be a setup." But Bird pointed to the man's radio, nearly identical to theirs, but older, battered, coated in dried mud. "This equipment is real," he said quietly. "No one planted this today." Rose stood, scanning the perimeter. "We move. Hale and Lennox, flank. Bird, rear. Quinn, you lead me to the signal source." Avery hesitated. "You want me up front?" Rowe met her eyes. "You heard him. Whoever called us wanted you here." The truth of it rattled her bones. They advanced again. The forest thickened, pine giving way to darker growth, trunks black with damp, roots twisting up from the soil like skeletal fingers. Radio static built again. Louder. Stronger. "Quinn." Avery stopped. "No." Rowe paused. "What is it?" She listened, chest tight. "Your father knew." A chill shot through her spine. Hale whispered, "Your father?" "The major." Avery nodded. "My father died in service. He wasn't in whatever this is." Bird looked at her carefully. "What if he was?" Avery shook her head hard. "No." Rain hammered the soil. Then, another voice. "North Ridge, hurry." Rowe turned north. "Move." They reached the ridge in 25 minutes, boots slipping in mud, breath fogging, nerves frayed. And there, between 2 dead trees, stood a bunker. Old, decommissioned, faded military stencil on the steel door. "Comms relay, Site 34. Lennox muttered, "That shouldn't exist." Bird nodded. "This area was cleared 50 years ago." Hale ran his fingers over the dented metal. But someone was inside recently. Ro turned to Avery. You ready? She nodded. But she lied. He pulled the door open. Darkness breathed out. Stale. Thick. Like a lung exhaling secrets. They stepped inside and found the proof Avery never expected. A wall, covered in photographs. Her father in uniform, at 18, at 20, at 22. Standing with the same bunker door behind him. Laughing with people Avery had never met. Holding a radio. Holding documents. Holding plans. Ro exhaled. Your father built this. Avery shook her head. No, he didn't. But another voice greeted her. This time not from the radio, but from the dark. Yes, he did. A figure stepped forward. Captain Aldrich, her commanding officer. Rain dripping from his uniform. Eyes cold. You were never supposed to see this, Quinn. Avery froze. Her feet locked to the concrete floor, her breath trapped behind her ribs. Aldrich stepped deeper into the bunker, water dripping from the hem of his rain-soaked coat, echoing in steady taps against metal. Ro raised his rifle. Captain, what the hell are you doing here? Aldrich ignored him entirely. His gaze stayed locked on Avery, calm, sharp, nearly hungry. How does it feel, he asked softly, to stand where he stood? Avery steadied her breathing. My father never told me he came here. Never told anyone. Aldrich smiled. Your father didn't tell you a lot of things. Birds circled around, weapon drawn. Sir, this facility isn't on any map. That alone is a breach of command. We want answers. Aldrich didn't even look at him. You're not command material, Bird. You want answers because you think they'll make you safe. He took a slow step toward the back wall of the bunker. But this isn't about safety. It's about symmetry. Hale swallowed hard. What does that mean? Aldrich turned to Avery again. Your father wasn't just stationed here, he said quietly. He built this unit. He built this program. And he would have wanted you to finish his work. Avery shook her head. My father died before I ever knew him. Aldrich stopped walking, rainwater still dripping from his fingertips. No, he whispered. He died after he knew who you were becoming. Silence fell like stone. Avery stepped closer. What did you say? Aldrich's expression softened into something that resembled pity. You think he was a hero, but the truth is far more complicated. He gestured toward the photographs. He wasn't in command here. He was under investigation. Avery blinked. For what? Aldrich's eyes darkened. Sabotage. Lennox gasped quietly. Bird cursed under his breath. Avery's pulse thundered in her ears. You're lying. Aldrich shook his head slowly. I knew him. Better than you ever did. Your father tried to shut this facility down. He tried to burn it to the ground. And when he failed, his gaze sharpened. He tried to disappear. Avery staggered backward. Rainwater dripped into her eyes, but she couldn't see anything except the photos. Her father laughing with soldiers she'd never known, standing at the same bunker console she now faced. No, her father wasn't a saboteur. He was a war hero. So why did the bunker feel like a tomb? Rose stepped forward, rifle raised. We're done here. Give us the truth or stand aside. Aldrich didn't move, didn't blink, didn't flinch. Instead, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a thin metal transfer case. Avery recognized it immediately. Her father's service insignia. Engraved. Precise. Take it, Aldrich said. She didn't. She couldn't. He stepped closer and pressed the cold metal into her palm. Your father left messages. Codes. Instructions. Avery stared at the object in disbelief. What kind of instructions? Aldrich leaned in. To finish what he couldn't. The ground shook, not a tremor, but a violent shudder that rattled dust from the ceiling and made Hale stumble forward. Bird's eyes widened. That wasn't weather. A second impact. Louder. Closer. Rose snapped around. What was that? Artillery. Aldrich didn't answer. Avery rushed to the radio table, old equipment lit with flickering signals. One transmission repeated over and over, looping beneath static like a pulse. Site 34 breach, secure or destroy. Lennox stared at the printed code sheet nailed to the wall. That's command order formatting. Bird shook his head. But it's dated 9 years ago. Another explosion thundered through the bunker. Avery grabbed the radio transmitter. This is Bravo Recon Team. We've reached Site 34 and require immediate extraction. Repeat, immediate extract. Static swallowed her voice. The signal cut completely. Rose slammed his fist against the console. We're blind. Aldridge spoke quietly. You were never meant to leave this place. Rose spun. You're either with us or against us. Decide now. Aldridge raised his hands slowly, not surrendering, just opening them, like offering the room itself. You think your mission is external, but it never was. Avery stared at him. What does that mean? Aldridge looked directly into her eyes. You weren't sent here to observe. You were sent here to choose. The radios lit up again, all channels. Voices merged into a single command. Secure or destroy. Avery whispered. No. Lennox grabbed her arm. What do we do? Rose spoke first. Voice like steel. We secure. Bird spoke next. Voice shaking. We destroy. Hale spoke last. Voice afraid. We survive. Avery didn't speak at all. Not yet. Because something inside her shifted. Memory, instinct, blood. Her father had stood here. Faced the same order. Made his choice. And died for it. Another explosion shook the bunker, blowing loose concrete across the floor. Aldridge moved fast, reaching under the table and pulling a small black case from a hidden compartment. Inside, a key. Long. Metallic. Cold. The decision is yours, he whispered to Avery. As it was his. Rowe raised his rifle. Sir, step back. Aldridge didn't move. He looked at Avery. Eyes soft, tired, almost proud. You wanted to earn it, he said. Here's your chance. And then, he stepped away, toward the darkness of the bunker tunnel. Rose shouted, Aldridge, stop. But it was too late. He disappeared into shadow. Bird cursed. He's gone. Avery turned the key in her hand. It vibrated, faint but undeniable, like it remembered her. Hale whispered, Captain, what do we do now? And for the first time, everyone was looking at her. Not because of her name, not because of her father, but because she was the one who had to lead. Avery closed her fingers around the key so hard the edges dug into her skin. Her father stood on this floor, made this choice, and whatever he chose, command erased, buried, silenced. Not this time. Not with her. She stepped to the central console, a reinforced steel unit with a single key slot at the base. Above it, 2 options glowed in faint red. Secure. Destroy. Her breath trembled. Rose stood beside her. We don't have much time. Another blast shook the bunker. Closer, louder, almost directly above. Bird grabbed a steel beam to steady himself. They're bombing Site 34. Someone up there wants this place gone. Lennox narrowed her eyes. Or they want us gone with it. Avery placed the key at the edge of the lock. One turn would protect everything hidden here. Everything her father died trying to expose. The other turn would wipe it all away. Memories. Evidence. Truth. And maybe, finally, the weight on her shoulders. Her fingers shook. Hill's voice quieted. Avery, what did he want? And Avery remembered. The photograph she kept in her pocket, edges worn. Her father's smile, tired and strong. The last words her mother told her before she left home. Your father was brave, Avery. But bravery doesn't always look heroic. She breathed. Slow. Steady. And placed the key into the slot. For one impossible second, the room felt still. No rain. No thunder. No war. Just her heartbeat. Then she turned the key. And chose. Rowe whispered. Which did you pick? Avery didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she pulled the key free, swung her rifle over her shoulder, and stepped back from the console. We need to get out, she said. Now. Bird stared. You didn't even tell us. We don't have time. Another blast hit, tearing stone from the ceiling. The bunker lights flickered. Hale shouted. The whole place is coming down. They sprinted for the entrance. Mud flying, lungs burning. Lennox grabbed Hale's hand. dragging him through the collapsing corridor. Bird covered their rear. Rowe shielded Avery with his own body as chunks of debris fell. Outside, the rain hit them like knives. They ran across the ridge, boots sinking in wet soil, while smoke burst behind them in violent plumes. And when they reached the tree-line, the bunker collapsed. The earth swallowed Site 34 whole. Nothing remained but thunder, mud, and memory. Rowe fell to one knee, chest heaving. Quinn. Avery finally spoke. Voice low, steady, heavy with truth. My father wasn't wrong. The others stared. And he wasn't running. She pulled the dog tag from her pocket, her father's tag, and held it tight. He was protecting us. Bird lowered his rifle. Protecting us from who? Avery looked toward the smoking earth. From the people who want to write the truth for us. Rowe swallowed. And what did you choose down there? Avery turned to him, rain streaking mud down her cheeks. I chose justice. Behind them, from beneath the collapsed bunker, static bled into their radios. Weak, broken, but still alive. Avery lifted her headset. A familiar voice whispered through the interference. One she had never truly known, and never truly lost. I'm proud of you. Her knees weakened. Hale whispered. Was that? Avery nodded once. Voice breaking. Yes. And for the first time since she'd arrived at Bravo Company, she knew she belonged. Not because of her father, not because of her name, but because she earned it. Every step. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Epic Recon Stories. Here we tell the missions that never made the headlines, the decisions made in silence, and the people who carried them. More stories are coming soon.